Long ago, during the time of the Vikings, adventurous souls set sail on daring voyages across the vast Atlantic Ocean. Among these intrepid explorers was a Norseman named Leif Erikson, who is often credited with being the first European to set foot on the American continent. Around the year 1000 AD, Leif and his crew stumbled upon a land they called Vinland, believed to be present-day Newfoundland in Canada. However, despite their early presence, the Vikings did not conquer the American continent, and their exploration did not lead to lasting contact between Eurasian civilizations and the Americas. Leif Erikson's journey to Vinland was undoubtedly remarkable, but the Vikings did not establish a permanent foothold on the American continent. Their limited colonization efforts were the main reason for their inability to conquer these new lands fully. Unlike later European powers, the Vikings lacked the numbers and resources necessary for large-scale colonization. Their settlements in Vinland were small and relatively short-lived, probably due to difficulties in sustaining themselves in the harsh North American environment. Although they had discovered Vinland, the Vikings faced significant obstacles that hindered further expansion. The hostile encounters with indigenous peoples, known as the Skrælings, were a significant deterrent. The Vikings' interactions with the native population were often marred by conflicts, and this created an inhospitable environment that discouraged them from pursuing further expansion. Moreover, the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean posed serious challenges for the Vikings. Their ships, while impressive for their time, were still relatively small and limited in capacity compared to the later European vessels. Crossing the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic was a risky endeavor, and the Vikings might have been hesitant to undertake repeated journeys given the dangers involved. The geographical distance also played a role in preventing ongoing contact between the Vikings and the American continents. The Norse settlements in Greenland, which served as a stepping stone for their voyages to Vinland, were far removed from the centers of power in Europe. The lack of consistent communication and support from the homeland hindered sustained efforts at colonization. Unlike Christopher Columbus, who sought a direct route to Asia by sailing west, the Vikings' exploration of the Americas was somewhat accidental. Columbus's voyages were driven by the desire to find a western route to lucrative Asian trade, which resulted in sustained efforts by European powers to explore and colonize the newly discovered lands. On the other hand, the Vikings' primary interests lay in trade, exploration, and possibly finding new fishing grounds rather than establishing far-reaching empires. In the centuries that followed the Viking Age, the memory of their brief encounters with the Americas faded, and knowledge of these lands was largely lost to the European world. It was only in the 19th and 20th centuries that archaeological evidence and historical research began to shed light on the Viking presence in the Americas. In conclusion, while Leif Erikson and the Vikings can be credited with early exploration of the American continent, they did not conquer it. The limited colonization efforts, conflicts with indigenous peoples, treacherous ocean crossings, and lack of ongoing support prevented them from establishing a lasting presence. The Vikings' exploration of the Americas was distinct from Columbus's later expeditions, driven by different motivations and lacking the sustained interest needed to forge lasting connections between Eurasian civilizations and the American continents. Nevertheless, their journeys across the Atlantic Ocean remain a testament to the spirit of exploration that defined the Viking Age.